What evil lurks in the dark? A question we have all asked ourselves many times. Together, we can start uncovering the truth and mystery behind the darker side of the otherworldly. And now your host of See You in the Dark, Michelle Roos.
Good evening to you all, and thank you for joining me on another episode of See You in the Dark. Tonight, we're going to kind of go to a little bit the other side. With all the darkness that's been going on all over the world, it doesn't matter whether it's in our regular lives or if we're running into it in the paranormal now, um, to kind of find out some of the ways that we can actually heal ourselves. We always talk about how we're trying to find all these answers, but we keep running into walls. And the biggest thing I've always spoke about was we have to heal ourselves to be able to help others, whether it's on the spiritual side or whether it's in our regular days. Um, this next lady that I'm going to have the pleasure of speaking to is so full of knowledge. She kind of puts me to shame, guys, but at least some of the stuff I talk about is where I learn it from. Stacy is an amazing person. She actually owns her own store. It's Higher Self Holistics. Now, what she's done is she has dedicated herself, for many, many years of finding different ways of doing energy healing, sound healing, different holistic things that are not just your regular, let's grab some crystals, let's make sure they all work, or, let's, spray ourselves down or doing those things, but going more into a deeper side of that. And that's meaning going deeper inside of you to help with those different healings. I could read her whole bio for you, but then we're not going to really find the in betweens because it's just I could have you guys have seen it on my Facebook, you've read it. So let's bring Stacy on and let's kind of talk about some of this stuff. And hello, Stacy, how are you?
Hello, Miss Michelle. I am wonderful. How have you been?
I have been great. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me tonight.
It is my pleasure.
We've been going down these trails of the darker side of the paranormal, but we've also known that, we're talking kind of putting ourselves more on the side of spirit. And when we do that, we feel the emotions of them, we feel different things, and we absorb this on a continuous basis. Then we go to our day jobs or our days of just doing everything from grocery shopping to whatever, and start absorbing all that types of different energies. Everybody has kind of this outlook of, I'm invincible. I can take on everything, but they forget that every little piece just puts little holes in your own spirit. And so
Absolutely.
talking to you kind of about that, like your sound healing is amazing. It
Oh,
puts you in a
thanks.
different world. And
Okay.
kind of explain to us how you kind of got into this whole healing, the holistic part of things that you do. And what time at your life did you say, okay, I got to go deeper into this than just your regular, basics of, I would call it the dollar general basics of spirituality?
Absolutely. So I have been doing sound healing now for about 6.5, 7 years. Um, how I got into it, about 10 years ago, I quit smoking, life changes, medical things with the body, and going to the doctor and asking them, hey, this is what's going on with me. What can you help me with? What can we do? And none of them really had an answer or didn't have an answer that worked. I started um, down the path of like music has always been an outlet for me. It doesn't matter whether it's rock and roll, country, whatever it is. But music has always been an outlet. So it has always been on the forefront of my mind. And when I started working at one of our local metaphysical shops here back in 2018, it really hit me the way that it could go with the metaphysical, sound healing, um, energy healings, all of that. So that's when I really took a deep dive into different types of sounds and vibrational frequencies and what they can do for the body. Um, Everybody vibrates on a different level. However, we all do vibrate. Just everything in the world, if anything is physically able to be touched, it has energy. And when you play a singing bowl or a chime or even a bell, drums, rattles, each one of those hits us differently. Um, some of us love the bass of those deep drums. We could sit in front of that speaker at a concert all night long and just be in heaven. Um, Other people can barely stand the sound of a high-pitched triangle because it might send a shock through our brain and might give us a little bit of a headache. But all those vibrations heal on a different level. Yes, you can overdo it. If you've ever stood in front of that speaker at a concert, the very next day you can't hear anything.
Very
But
true.
um, just the vibrational frequency of the healing. In fact, as I'm speaking now, sitting in my sound room, my singing bowls are just very ever so lightly just chiming to the base of my voice, which I absolutely love when I'm in here.
Now, you've been on the journey and it started with yourself, which is really interesting because, a lot of people, it's kind of like, okay, I just want to jump on that bandwagon and see what I could do with it. But I've noticed that, you are deeper into that and always looking at different ways of helping individuals because we all have something different. And, so when somebody comes to you and they're looking for some kind of spiritual healing, do you kind of do like a scan on them? Do you talk to them to find out, what is the best thing for them? Or do they just come in and say, I just want to do sound healing, even though that might not be the best, medicine for them, if you would say?
That is a great question. So I've had both ways, to be honest with you. I've had people come in and they're just like, I've heard about sound healing. I've never tried it. I just want to try it out. I just feel like it would help. Um, and, I do talk to people. Um, I am an empath. I am also a Reiki practitioner. So I feel and notice energies around people all the time. And that usually leads me into inquiring questions. Trying not to get too personal with somebody is hard, but when they walk into the store, most people tend to relax just by walking through the doors. Like they come in, the feel of the location is great, and they just kind of relax. Um, I don't normally attack them right away. I like to let them wander around the store and feel the crystals, and I kind of watch to see what crystals they're drawn to, because sometimes that will help me to decide or figure out what they might be dealing with. But it is very much almost like an intuitive conversation. They come up to me, they talk to me. The more comfortable they are with me, the more they kind of let me in, the more they tell me. Women love to tell people everything, men, not so much. But I do have a service that we call an intuitive guidance service, per se, where we just sit down and we talk. It's kind of like a therapy session, but it's more what's going on in your life. Why do you feel this way? Who's causing this? What do you think is happening? And then we kind of pencil out, like, and I don't want to use this word because I'm not supposed to, but more kind of like a metaphysical prescription of things that they can do, either A, on their own, B, by going to somebody. Um, but it is very much a conversation. And if I'm the first one to say, if I can't help you, I can't help you. But I know people who can, especially when it comes to paranormal Like if I can't handle it, Michelle, I'm sending them to you.
Yes.
um, but everybody has their own story, their own journey. They're all at different places on their journey. I love newbies because I do tend to talk a lot about what's going on and about what I'm passionate about. Um, and you're right. I'm always trying to find something new to help somebody else. In fact, I'm currently in the process of honing my skills with tuning forks, which is just another avenue of my sound healing that I get to offer.
And see, those I do like, because I know, there are some practitioners that actually use those too, and they're huge over across the pond.
Yes.
And they use those to, excuse me, scan the body because the different tones of those will tell you where there's the blockage and different things and how they react. And at first, when I seen it, I'm like, yeah, this is not, come on. But when I seen it, I was just mind blown that it would pick right where you needed to do most of the work. And I just thought that was the greatest thing to offer people because, just like if you were to go to a gym to work out, you're talking to a trainer first of saying, this is what I want to achieve. And then they go and have that conversation and check what's the weaknesses and the strengths to be able to get them to the goal that they're looking for.
Yes.
So that is going to be really amazing. So yeah, I, I'll be your guinea pig. But
Oh,
anyways, we talk about this, and like I said, everybody has gone on some kind of bandwagon about finding certain things, because this is not putting anybody down. Please don't take it this way, but it seems like more and more you talk around to people, everybody is some kind of Reiki practitioner of some sort.
yes.
But I have watched those, and to me, when you're doing Reiki healing or when you're working with someone's spirit, there's got to be that connection to that other side to be able to help with that. And so I can see, like, when people are actually doing some of that, of what is just, real energy going in, and others would be like me doing Reiki. I put my hands over you, and you'd be like, hello, we started yet, you know?
Right.
So, because of that, how does that put you in certain situations? Do people feel that? Or, I mean, because there are so many.
There are. There are a lot of people who get into Reiki for the simple fact of healing, which is great. It's wonderful. That's the point. That's kind of why we travel down that journey. Some people take Reiki because it's the right thing to do at the right time, and then they never use it. And then 3 or 4 years down the line, they're like, oh, well, maybe I can use this. Well, you haven't honed it. It's not going to work for you the same way as if you were to have honed that since you were trained or certified. Um, for myself, and I'm sure for many others, like I've got 3+ years of Reiki, and don't ask me when I first started. There was too many classes.
Yeah.
um, when I first started, it was very much, and I don't like this phrase, but it's kind of fake it till you make it type of thing, because until you really hone that energy, I wasn't feeling anything in my hands. My clients were feeling it, but I was not. So it's very much you have to practice, you have to work at it. And you are right. You do need that connection with spirit and with universal energy in order to perform that type of healing appropriately. Now, can you do energy healing without being certified? Yes, but it is not Reiki. Okay. Anybody can do energy healing. It's just sharing your energy with somebody else. Reiki gives you the opportunity to tap into that universal energy and connect with spirit and your higher self, calling in your ancestors and your angels and any deities or guides that you work with, and ultimately do a collaborative healing on someone or something. I mean, I just did Reiki on Freya, my cat, the other day because she wasn't feeling well. Um, I do Reiki on my plants on a weekly basis and when I water them. You can put Reiki energy into water, into food, into crystals. It's something the universe allows you to access without draining your own battery. And that's really the biggest difference between energy healing and Reiki. Energy healing, you're using your own energy and the energy around you, whereas Reiki, you are tapping into the endless energy source of either Mother Earth, spirit, ether, and guiding that energy into somebody to help them heal, release blockages, cut cords, whatever their need is at that present moment. But because there are so many Reiki practitioners and Reiki master teacher trainers, a lot of the emphasis on honing the gift has been left at the wayside. It's like, let's get this done in a weekend and here we go. And it is a lot of information. Um, with that, a lot of people don't know what Reiki is. And those who do, they're like, it's no big deal. Because Western civilization, everything is quick, fast, and in a hurry. We're all about getting it done, learning it, and doing it. We're not about honing and working with that gift for a long period of time before we actually do good for someone. Um, and that's why when I teach my Reiki classes, it is very much different. It's one level per weekend. You get 10 hours on one level because there is so much, and I feel you need to understand it before you move on. So I went a
No,
little far with that answer, but
no, and that's really important because there's been times and again, this is not really putting anybody down, but when we're talking about, excuse me, darker sides of things, I have gone and helped people who have had certain attachments and things like that. That said, I've went to a Reiki healer and supposedly they got it all out of me and things like that. But it seemed like after a week or so, it got 3 times worse.
mhm,
And so, I in my eyes, seeing that and having to deal with that, you know, doing any type of healing, if you're not really into it the right way, knowing how to use your certain energies, it can actually go bad. I mean, again, that would be like you just looking for the cheapest surgeon to do,
right,
a surgery on you. And I think people forget that this type of stuff is just like if you were to go to your regular doctor. There's certain things you have to listen for and see because again, I've had the calls where somebody is like, well, I went to someone and they did Reiki and they said they cut cords and they used crystals on me and I felt great for, a week and then all of a sudden, no pun intended, all hell broke loose,
yeah,
you
and a lot
know.
of that, a lot of that is when you do a Reiki session, and I tell people this all the time. I'm going to inform you of what's going to happen, what could possibly happen, and what may not happen. When you do Reiki, and we'll just take cord cutting, for example, because you mentioned it. Cord cutting can be very difficult. Um, I can cut a cord. That's not a big deal. But if you haven't cut your connection, that cord is going to reattach in a heartbeat.
Thank
The minute
you.
they text you,
You.
the minute you think about them, any of that. If I do a deep cord cutting, spiritually, physically, aura, all of that, if you are not ready to let go of that person or thing or place or memory, there's no good in having a cord cutting done because you're just going to be back in 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 months to do it again. It's just going to
And
be in a different location.
And that's the thing I run into when I get the calls, is because they're bouncing from one place to another, because it's like that quick fix, and then it's not really fixed. And
Yes.
when we're talking about spiritual healing, again, it's just that important because if we're not taken care of, on our side, on that spiritual side, when we go out to do other things, we become more of a target.
Yes.
So, and thank you for saying that because again, it's not putting anybody down. It's just, some people, I think because it's such a norm, like again, going to the store, that people just they don't, when we do certain things, we kind of investigate it, look at it, just like when you're looking at a hotel, what are the stars? What are this?
Right.
But we seem to forget that piece when we're looking at trying to spiritually help ourselves.
And
And I
that's
think
a lot
that's
of that
important.
in, yeah, in Western tradition, like we are all about fix me, fix me, fix me, fix me, fix me. However, when it comes to the holistic side, nobody, and again, this, I'm not talking down on anybody. I'm not saying that people don't think otherwise. But a lot of people are like, well, it's just holistic. I don't need this. I just want this. So who's gonna give me the best price for the service and just get it done? I just want to try it. And then you have a
Yeah,
bad service or a bad experience, and then you never want to try it again. Well, do your research. Um, it is very much who's going to educate you, not just do your service. Who's going to tell you, hey, okay, you scheduled this today. However, I don't think it's going to help you after our little conversation. Or a lot of people are just out for that quick buck as well.
and that's
Not
what a lot's running into, and that's the thing, where at a point, is your body, your mind, and your soul important enough that, like you said, you do the research.
mhm,
If you're paying an extra $20, because you're getting something that's the real thing, we don't think about that because, like you said, oh, it's just holistic. Because if you can't, smell it, taste it, touch it, like
if
you're buying
insurance,
some, yeah,
if they don't, if they don't take insurance or insurance doesn't cover it, it's not healing, which
correct.
drives me nuts.
Yeah, no, and it's the truth, and again, and this, kind of morphs over into the paranormal because a lot
Yes,
of your people in the paranormal do all the holistic energy stuff, because they think they can get rid of all these attachments and things. And it's not a quick fix. When
it
we
is
talk
not.
about exorcists and stuff like that, and it's to expel all the negativity. But if that person is not willing to let go, or physically can do that, then it doesn't work. But then it falls back on the practitioners that are doing this stuff because you failed to do your part,
Yeah, we get a bad rep. Hmm.
and people have to really start taking really good care of that. Just like when you have readings, you guys do readings in your store.
Yes.
There's so many people all over Facebook that do readings for free.
Hmm.
So could they kind of be on the right track? Maybe. But, if you're really looking for that in-depth, whether it's a psychic reading of knowing about you and what's going on and things like that, to, maybe tapping into a loved one, you know, you're opening yourself up like a portal to allow that to come out so the reader can read it for you.
Right.
And again, you start cutting the corners around that, you don't know what's gonna actually come in, and you can get
Correct.
hurt doing that too.
Yes. We get we get a lot of people that come in, and more so this past year, we've had a lot of people come in. Oh, there's something wrong with my house, the energy in my house, my house, my house, my house, my house, my house. And our first question is always, well, have you ever used a Ouija board or a spirit board? Have you closed it?
I
Like,
like the ones they say, "No, we just threw it away."
yeah, we just threw it away. Well, I can try to help you, but more than likely and we do more than just that one question, but it's probably one of our first three questions, depending on how things are going, especially if that entity has moved with them, because it's an attachment to them, not to their location. We get people that come in and they say, well, I took over my grandmother's house and this and this and this. And I'm like, I'm more than happy to walk through your house and see what I energetically feel. It's usually a two-person team. It's me and a psychic. Um, Sometimes I will find a sensitive if I don't have a psychic that's available, and we will walk through and we'll see what we sense. 9 times out of 10, it is a spirit of the loved one that lived in the house or other spirits that lived in the house. It's not necessarily anything negative, but even though I myself am not per se psychic or a medium, that's not to say that people with energetic abilities, um, empathic abilities are not on the psychic level. We have
No,
a psychic ability of some sort. We are just not mediums.
correct. We're going to get deeper into this conversation here in just a couple minutes. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Tickets are now on sale for Rebels of Disclosure 2025, May 12th through the 15th in Grafton, Illinois at the beautiful Pierre Marquette Lodge and Conference Center. This will be a 4-day event with 12 speakers covering topics such as ET contact, experiencer testimonies, lost history, secret space programs, time travel, Illuminati, parallel realities, and so much more. Visit journeytotruth.online for more details.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com.
And welcome back. We have been talking to my guest, Stacy, who actually is the owner of Higher Self Holistics, kind of talking about how important it is to really look at who is doing the healings and the readings for you. A lot of times when I say it's too good to be true, it's probably fake. And when we're talking about that, yes, you can go out and get free readings, free guidance, free things like that. But sometimes you need to also look into who you're going to see. What is their background? Is there credibility? Because you got to remember, you have to protect your spiritual side. And we kind of just throw it out there in the wind and just see what can I get. Stacy, welcome back. I know we were talking about this, and you know, things have gotten really darker lately in a lot of places, whether you're an investigator or not, but just with everything going on in the world. And people are just walking around with all this sludge, you
Yes.
and they can't figure out how to get rid of it. So they're just knocking on all these different doors, to try to find that help or that guidance. Do you have some tips for, people that are in that situation, have no, they don't know where to look right now, but kind of what tips to look at to start that journey for them?
Well, there's a couple of very easy steps that people can take. Um, and, when I say journaling and writing, and a lot of people are going to roll their eyes. And I don't want to say that in the sense you sit down and you write your journal with a topic. No. The way I suggest people do it is just carry something with you. I don't care if it's a recorder on your phone. I don't care if you write or text yourself something. But if you have time, sit down and just brain dump is what I call it. And literally just sit down, whatever comes to your mind, write it down. Don't think about it. Don't judge it. Don't try to edit it. Just write it down. Do this periodically throughout the day. When you wake up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom and your brain starts going, it's the best time to do it. Then you can go back to sleep. But do it for a week. It doesn't have to be every day. Do it for a week and then match up those thoughts. Which ones do you have repetitively? Which ones make you feel bad? Which ones make you feel happy? And kind of take an inventory. That's probably the easiest, however, most time consuming, because you actually have to make time to do it. Meditation is always good, but then you get those people, and I'm going to say 99.99999% of people. I don't know how to meditate. I can't do it. Don't try to shut your brain off. Your brain's job is to think. That's what it does. It's like asking your heart to stop so you can move something for the day. It's not going to happen. Just allow your brain to focus on one thing. Give it a topic. What am I struggling with today? And meditate on that. See what comes through. Meditate while you're on the toilet. Nobody's bothering you. Play some music. Stop playing on your phone. Play some music and just think about it. You're getting rid of your waste anyway from your body. Get rid of your negative thoughts while you're at it. Another easy one would be find some place or find a meditation on full moon release meditations or full moon release topics, ideas, journals, things of that nature. With the light of the moon reflecting the light of the sun, it magnifies the energy to cleanse and purify. So when you intentionally say, this no longer serves me, I do not need this, I'm letting go of all of this, and literally breathe with that. Take a deep breath, think about what you're releasing, and just let it go. You would be amazed at how much lighter you feel even after 5 minutes. I know there's places here in Dubuque that do those. I only know that because I do them. There are other places, yoga, Tai Chi, as you go through your yoga class, intentionally take a breath. And when you release something negative, and then put some fresh water back in your body. So that way you replace the negative with positive, pure, clean water. Other more simple things, carry some crystals. I know that sounds generic. There are crystals, whether you believe in their ability or not, they vibrate at a frequency that helps. You don't have to believe in them. It's not like spells or curses or anything where you have to believe in something in order for it to work. No, crystals are going to work regardless. Like tourmaline, obsidian, shungite, all of your black stones are going to absorb, deflect negativity. Hello, Miss Freya. In some way, shape, or form. Some of them do additional things, like shungite blocks EMFs. So if you're going on a paranormal investigation, that might be something you want to take with you. However, do not put it next to your EMF reader. If you're looking to cleanse your spirit and recharge yourself, white crystals, quartz, selenite, those types of crystals will help to energize you, purify your thoughts, things of that nature. Selenite in general is a self-charging, self-cleansing stone. So that will help to charge all your other crystals. And I could talk for hours about crystals, so let's not get me started too much. But for an intention, find your local crystal muse, mineral mystic, crystal whisperer, whomever, and intersect here. Not all crystal shop owners know about crystals. Find them, talk to them, say, hey, what helps me? If you can't find somebody, Google it. I know it's a default. Google it. There are so many options out there to say, hey, what crystal is good for liver cancer? What is good for anxiety? What is good for menopause? They will give you a list. And don't be sidetracked when you see the same crystal for multiple diagnoses. A crystal doesn't have just one thing that it does. It has many multitudes, many levels of healing that it can do. But when you do find that crystal, make sure that you work with it and hone it and kind of ask it to help you. I know a lot of people use the word program. I don't like the word program. Don't program your crystals. Ask them for help. And sometimes just ask the crystal if they want to be with you. But that's a different level of crystal knowledge. So those are some tips. Sound healing does work. That's if you know how to do sound healing and play balls, it's great to just have the intention of letting things go, get rid of the sludge. But I would say the simplest form of cleaning sludge away from you, the simplest form of getting rid of things is literally to wash it down the drain. Take a shower, cleanse yourself with the intention of just getting rid of all the muck and the guck and just let it wash down the drain.
That's what I do every night.
Yeah.
I use Epsom salt and lavender. Um,
Mhm.
and it just takes away whatever my day was, and it feels amazing. And that's, simple for me to do. Um, and a lot of people will ask me, and I'm like, that's kind of my go-to.
Yep.
We do have crystals, which a lot of people do, whether it's bracelets, necklaces, whatever, when they come to one of our events. Now, Stacy's also part of our team, which has really been, amazing to have her because having that spiritual side of it, not just your psychics and all that, but to also help you navigate sometimes at an event, because people, they can say what they want, but every person that comes to an event, no matter if it's ours or anybody else's, one is to see, is there the other side? And two, if they know they're psychic mediums stuff, they bring a whole bunch of baggage with them just to see if it happens,
Mhm.
And so the great thing having you, especially because when you're doing, the sound bath type of deal before we start an event, it also speaks to the spirits and it
It
brings
does.
them in. And so there's this beautiful connection because, I always have asked the question, and I still believe, I don't think there's a veil. I believe the veil has always been a cover on our eyes, and more of us are starting to, have that awakening, so more open-minded, more taking it in, that they're seeing more or feeling more because we have them tap into that side of them.
Right.
Because I feel, we're in spirit space. So we need to put ourselves there, how do you do that? And having Stacy on the team to do that kind of stuff has kind of put up that level of communication with the other side. It's been amazing.
It is. It's almost like, I've done my very first investigation with you guys. Was Oh my gosh, it was the YMCA down in Rock Island.
Yes.
And I was not a member at that point. In fact, I wasn't even on your register. I was there with my sister. She was, we did kind of a vendor show down there the first time. And we stayed for the investigation that night. And there was no sound healing, there was no nothing. And the energy was it was really heavy
Yes.
and that nature. And the second time that I did Rock Island with you, and it was the first time I was actually with R.I.P. and we did Rock Island, I did a sound healing that night. And just the shift of energy between the two visits was amazing. It
Oh, yeah.
it relaxed everybody that was investigating. It opened up their minds and their senses. It relaxed them so that way when they heard a sound, they didn't jump. They're like, "Ooh, what was that?" You know, and you could feel the presence of the spirits after that sound healing. It was truly amazing.
Yeah, and this is not something where you can just couldn't just go out there and bring a singing bowl or do something and actually have the same thing happen. Again, this is something where you have to find someone that you would trust to be able to bring that because, spirits can't always have electronics going off. And you can't
Right.
always have a psychic there to walk you through all of it. And just like you said, Stacy, we all have some type of an ability that a lot have not tapped into. And
Yes,
you kind of put them on that level. And but you're also putting another vibration to bring spirit in closer because now you have kind of just took another piece out and said, okay, now we're really open and everybody's ready to accept what's going to be coming.
yeah,
And so, talking about this is kind of that way of saying, again, you're also healing spirit and the living. And there's always that little healing component when we're doing that on both sides. Because I've noticed spirit starts talking more of the truths that's out there. And
yes,
people are like, oh my God, yeah, I never thought of this way. Behind closed doors, you never know what happened. And it puts a whole new perspective on all of it.
it
So
does. In addition to, easing everybody's mind, circling back to when we first started, the energy that the sound produces lends to the spirit's ability to manifest and do things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And it really allows
absolutely.
them to communicate more directly with us during those sessions.
And it also puts a lot of, our guests on that level too,
It does.
because everybody comes in with their flashlights, they're excited. I want to see ghosts tonight, and it's like,
Mhm.
well, they're not on a paycheck, so we don't know.
Right.
But when we do have people tap into their own spiritual side and open that piece open it up, then that's when I've noticed the connection of the two, like everybody's walking the same realm. And
Yes,
it's the most extraordinary, feeling. Now, it does open some dark things too. We will let you know that
it does.
because again, you have one, you're going to need the other. And that you got to remember when you're going through these spiritual cleansings and healings, you're going to get a lot of the dark with the light, and you have to be able to have someone you can trust to navigate through both of them to put you on that balance. So it's important, we always talk about cleansings, we always talk about how to protect ourselves. But yet we'll just go to, the bubble gum machine and go, oh my God, there's a stone. Let me put a quarter in. You can't do that. You have to go to seek people, whether if it's not Stacy, because not everybody lives in Iowa, so we understand that. But you can actually reach out to Stacy on Facebook and ask questions if you're in a different state of what type
Absolutely.
of what type of people do I look for? How do I know I'm getting the right stuff? And that's one thing Stacy and her store and people that work with her also do. So, you know, definitely write down her name, check her out, follow her, and then she can guide you to her page too, because she puts great information on there. So when we're talking about dealing with all this, one, you have to be in the mindset that you really want the help, not just
Hmm.
because you went over the weekend on a ghost hunt and you feel you brought something home. Yeah, we have those too. But sometimes I feel a lot of those attachments to people because they already had an underlining issue with themselves. So it just
Yeah.
kind of said, oh, let me attach that one. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
You know, we have to look at the both sides. And again, I am very thankful that I have a Stacy that I can
No.
go to, you know what I mean? And I am grateful that, bringing that piece in and putting us all on that level makes an experience, above the rest. And that is, not everybody's going to have a Stacy, but I'll
Yeah.
I'll lend her out to you if you need her, guys.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who has a question, comment, concern, anything of that nature, I, find us on Facebook. It's Higher Self Holistics. The minute you type it in, you'll find us. Um, you can email me. You can send a message through Google. Myself and my team are here almost 24/7. We do have to sleep, guys. Um, but we are more than welcome to answer any questions, whether you are local or whether you are from China. We don't care. Um, but it's also one of those, if you're calling out for information, don't criticize the information you're getting. We are very honest and very blunt. If we don't have the answer, we will tell you. But you better believe we're going to research that. So the next person who asks that question, we're going to know the answer. Um, the girls have full access to all of my learning and my books and my tools that I've had over the last 16 plus years. So if they ever have a question, they can answer that. I know my weaknesses. Don't ask me anything about astrology. Don't ask me anything about pantheons and deities. I'm okay with herbs, but my main focus really is energy healing and crystals. Um, that's my forte. But if it weren't for the girls around me, including Michelle, and even those that are no longer with us here at the store, if it weren't for those ladies, the store would not exist. I would still have knowledge. I just wouldn't have an upfront forum for people to go to. So I thank everybody for that.
Well, that was so sweet. Now, my question is, with the listeners out there, let's say somebody's in New York and say, I really want to do like a face-to-face, do that type of thing. Is that something you can offer? Like if they want to, if they want to FaceTime you and say, I really need you to help get me where I need to go or guide me and stuff. Could you do that through something like, StreamYard, FaceTime, or anything like that if they're really wanting to?
Absolutely. I do, I myself and the rest of the team, we do distance healings in general. Normally, our distance healings consist of a phone call to you, let you get settled so you're not distracted by your phone, and then we call you afterwards. Obviously, with the psychic reading, you can't do that, but we can do psychic readings over the phone. We can also do FaceTime, Snapchat, instant messenger, video chats. We don't mind doing any of those either. Um, with Reiki, that one gets a little tricky because I don't want to focus on my phone. My focus needs to be on you and where you are at. However, with that being said, I do lend quite a bit of time after the session to explaining to you exactly what happened, what I felt, where it went, and I take pictures and I send the information to you. Um, but if somebody, yeah, if they're in New York or Florida or anywhere, California, and they want to contact me and they want to do that face to face, we can definitely arrange something to do that. That is not a problem.
Okay. And guys, I mean, that's just something to write down because, again, when you're looking for something like that, especially when you're taking care of yourself and your inner self, to make sure you get the right information before you just jump into things. Um, Again, we're dealing with a lot more darker stuff nowadays than we were before, and that's
Mhm.
because everybody's doing it. We want to make sure we're taking care of ourselves to be able to continue on. And, to have this at your fingertips to make that call or do that, whether it's just asking questions or is it maybe a reading, because I do know she has people that read, that tarot readers, psychics, mediums, all that. But also having her store, if you are wanting to do the crystals, her store's full of crystals. She could maybe walk you through and tell you, okay, let's see and scan you and see what's the best thing. And I'm pretty sure if you ask Stacy nicely, she would mail stuff to you too.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yep.
so everything is a one-stop shop. So you could definitely go with that. Stacy, just before we take off for the evening, please make sure, tell everybody again where they can find you on Facebook and all that. And, we'll kind of go from there.
Absolutely. So Facebook, it's going to be higher hyphen self holistics and enchanted elements on Facebook. Um, it's higher self holistics for Google. Um, really, we have been top of Google now for the last 2.5 years for the holistics. So there's that. Um, we do have a website, which is www.higherselfholistics.com. All of our services are listed there, as well as many, 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 many pictures throughout the last 3 years of places, locations, and items that we have. Let's see, what else? What else? What else?
If you guys forget any of this, you guys all know how to get a hold of me, and I'll make sure I get the information over there.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot. And again, a lot of our listeners are, listening also across the radio waves. So we want to make
Mhm.
sure they can, get a hold of you. And if you guys are following any of us on Facebook and of course through YouTube and all that, we can we'll get you to where you need to go. The biggest
Absolutely.
thing we always talk about, is we have to look in, the mirror. We have to, the first step is know that there is an issue and try to look at yourself and know that you're worth it and know that no matter what your past is or what you've gotten yourself into or what you might have dabbled with or just something, nobody judges, but we're here to help. And, when we're talking about spiritual healing, there is so many different ways of doing things that, we can't put it all in one show. But we can get you to the right people that can continue guiding you if you're needing it. And I know for a fact that, Stacy and her team are always available to help. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are or what you follow. She does have something for everybody.
Yes.
Um, and they go by what your beliefs are too. They're not going to say, well, you need to believe in this or, you know, you need to be part of paganism and stuff for this stuff to work. No, it's not like
Yeah.
that.
It's
Yeah.
universal.
Yes. And even if you come from the galactic sector,
Hmm.
same type of deal. People kind of think they don't need that because of it, but it is true. So
Yeah. Energy is everywhere in every pantheon, in every area, in every celestial body, being, location. It doesn't matter who you follow, what you follow, where you go, or where you're from. Sound healing, color therapy, crystals. It's all going to help you the same as it would the next person. Your intention behind it is what directs the healing energy. So as long as your intentions are true and pure and cleansed of all negativity, you should not have an issue.
that is perfectly said. Well, before we close tonight, Stacy, thank you so much for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. You're a busy lady, and so taking the time out to talk about some of this. Um, for everybody else, take that moment, heal yourself. Always know that I'm sending you lots of love and light. And just to let everyone know, until next time, I will see you in the dark.
Thank you.